Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is sponsored by Wellstoned Landscapes. From lawn to luxury, creating outdoor elegance. Wellstoned Landscapes covers most areas of Yorkshire. If you mention the Ramble when asking for a quote, you'll receive 10% off any work. Call Paul or find him on Facebook in the details below. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is the countdown to kickoff, formerly known as the warm-up. We're trying something. We're just trying to pique a little bit of interest, that's all, and sort of rebrand a little bit. It'll be not too dissimilar from what you're used to, if I'm totally honest. How are we all? How are we all? So for those that weren't able to attend, because I know there were a lot that weren't, but almost every single Blade out there knows what a brilliant day yesterday was. Even if you weren't able to attend it, you'll know that the fact that we were there to celebrate Chris Basham's Sheffield United career, all the legends, or the majority of the legends that we all wanted to see. It was a shame that some were unable to make it. Some were unable to play, like Didsy was due to play, but obviously he's now involved in a playoff campaign for Notts County, so he can't risk injury or anything like that. So it was a shame for those lads that wanted to be involved and couldn't quite be. Myself and Andy the Blade attended the game, met with a load of Ramblers afterwards, but it was, and before actually, but it was absolutely brilliant. That was the brilliant start to a brilliant day. There were everything in the game in terms of, I mean, first of all, I have to say thank you to the people that hosted us. We were fortunate enough to be invited into a box yesterday, which was an incredible experience. Watching the football with Johnny Nelson and a certain Sheffield Wednesday footballer, and all sorts of different things. It was just incredible, really. And we were there, and so me and my dad sat down, fish out of water, watching the first half of this game, and it's Sheffield United legends basically against the Sky team of some Sky personalities and some celebrities, essentially, some modern day celebrities. And it shows your age when you don't know who half of them are. And that's no disrespect to them. That's more a reflection on me and my age. But it were really good fun. And obviously Steve Bracknell's great for getting everybody sort of in the mood and sort of in a jovial sort of mood. It were great. Really, really good. I thought in terms of the standard, you could tell that some of the professionals, although the Sheffield United team were on top throughout, it took a while to get into a bit of a rhythm, it's probably fair to say. So the first half were a bit of a nothing thing. The one thing I will say is in the first half, the absolute 100% standout moment in the whole affair really was, firstly, that Chris Basham could only do 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, which is a crying shame and shows just how bad his injury is. He couldn't really run. He could only walk, really, and do very light jogging. So all the best to Bash. And he didn't even need to do that, really. We would have supported him, and it was probably more for himself, and I hope it was, than to put himself through anything for us, because absolute legend of the club. Absolute legend. And then on 2 minutes, on the second minute, there was a minute's applause. Gary Sinclair, obviously not, it's not like in usual times in a professional game. Gary Sinclair only comes on for the formal announcements. He's our stadium announcer. He'll only tell you the substitutes and the added time and things like that. But he was able to sort of rouse everybody for a minute's applause for George. There was a huge banner of George on the cop, which was incredible. Everybody stood up. Everybody all around the ground. It was really touching, really poignant. Bash then came off after, so we had a minute's applause for George, and then on the 6th minute, Bash came off. He got subbed, obviously, which allowed him then, his kids ran on, his partner ran on, and it allowed him to soak it up, which was unbelievable, really, and no less than he deserves. What a servant he has been to our club. Other notable things from that first half: Billy Sharp, who got 2 goals. We won 4-2, but he got 2 goals. And seeing him in the red and white stripes again, it's the only kit that, I mean, we can all picture him in other kits that he played for. He's obviously just won promotion, won the championship in League 2 with Donny. So congratulations to Bill again, but to see him in the red and white stripes of Sheffield United is just where he belongs. Seeing players like John Egan in the red and white stripes again was just incredible. Really, really. I mean, for those sights alone, it'd have been a really enjoyable day. But for the levels that it went to in terms of the emotion and the roller coaster it was, to be fair, because it were all sorts. It were poignant. It was emotional. And then the second half, it were funny because Steve Bracknell it weren't subbing players. It was just throwing more players on. So it started off with United's 11 going up against like about 14 of these Sky. And when I say Sky personalities, by the way, there were some good players in it. Michael Brown played for Sky, which I know personally. Not that he wasn't happy about it, because obviously he's now employed by Sky, but he would have loved to have played for United in this game. And he got it, and it did make him slightly more competitive because they had a player in Brown who still clearly got a lot of his bite and stuff like that. I have to also say that Paddy Kenny in goal had an absolutely outstanding first half, keeping a clean sheet. And so fair play to Paddy. Still got it a bit in the locket. Faded a little bit in second half, which is a rare thing to say about a goalkeeper. But if you saw Paddy, you'll know. But a brilliant goalkeeper. I was saying to my dad, actually, and this is off on a tangent, which I might do a couple of times. We've historically had very good... Look, there's been periods where we've had a couple of dodgy goalkeepers. We'll all have our own opinions on that. But historically, as a club, certainly when I've been watching the Blades, we've historically had very good goalkeepers, and we've certainly got that now, which we'll come on to. But yeah, so the second half starts, and Bracknell's throwing on all these players. They end up, I'm not kidding, it must have been 20 players against R11. And it were just hilarious. Bracknell came on himself at one point in his jeans. It were just ridiculous. Really, really good. And as I say, we ended up winning 4-2. And it was just a brilliant start to the day. So from there, we ended up going to Selena, who were sponsors of the channel. They're our pre-match bar. They're our post-match bar yesterday, but we'll be there on Monday for the kickoff. So we'll be in Selena and then Triple Point. So thank you to them for the continued support. Went over to Panenka, who are part of the same group as Selena. So if you're going to Selena, then you're still supporting us by going to Panenka as well. But it were really good in Panenka. I know that some of the players had a table booked in Panenka, so we saw a couple of them. But we had to leave because we had the Player of the Year due. Andy the Blade nearly stopped out after saying, I'm going. But he nearly stopped out. And we ended up going to Player at Year do. Got quickly changed with Man Mountain in his hotel. And we headed out, met Dave the Nose, went in, met all the Ramblers. We had a table to us, just to ourselves. Like it were just a really good do. And there's some stories to tell. For those of you that haven't seen, I'm not going to share too much because I always think those sort of events are... It's weird, isn't it? Well, I can't really say that because that video I've shared on social media, and I'm going to share with you again now. But I like it. I like the fact that it's quite intimate, really, and it's you have to be there to properly experience it. And I'm sorry for those that weren't able to go, whether that's any reason, whatever it was, you thought it was too much money, because it was an awful lot of money. Whether you just couldn't get it worked out. You might have been working, you might have not been well enough, too far away, whatever it is. Same reasons people can't go to games sometimes, and it's been a very expensive time renewing your season tickets, etc. But that experience was absolutely incredible, and this is something that's been going around social media today. It's a video that Liam, one of our Platinum Ramblers, took, and he sent on to us, and we've put it on social media, and it's gone really well. So just if you haven't seen it already, it's only 40 seconds, but it's really worth enjoying.
All the things what you doing in my head, I paint a picture. But since I've gone home and my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger head, I know where you like to get. What's going on? I'm making a fool out of me. What is coming over my
Just absolutely class. That just sums up how they were last night. Players mingling with obviously each other, but happy to talk to the fans and give the time. It was just a really, really good event, and bang up for it as well. By the way, bang up for the playoffs. So yeah, well, I cannot wait to it's they were letting their head out, they were letting their head on last night, but they will be back. I'm assuming it's a day off today. Looking at a few of them, Alfie Gilchrist had a very good night, but yeah, I'm assuming as of tomorrow they'll be bang on it again. And I'm, after speaking to the players and obviously the managers had his say as well, I'm well up for this playoff campaign now, and I'm more excited than I am nervous. And that will change close to kickoffs because I know exactly what I'm like. Just a few more pictures to show you as well from last night. I'm not going to spam you any more of this, but we're just to finish off. So the 3MB boys got together, which I thought were a lovely touch. Mr. Mountain, you can already tell, is a little bit giddy at this stage. You can just tell by the photo. Okay? I think the red nose tells you a little bit about it. Then there were another one, I think, that Dave took of us and our mates, which is ridiculous. Then I've got a story about this one. So this is Sonny Glasby with Man Mountain. So Sonny is one of our Platinum Ramblers, has supported us for a long time. And he's, congratulations to Sonny, by the way, because he's just been promoted to director of Glasby Pallets, who the Ramble may be doing some work with very soon. But this photo, Man Mountain has been dining out on this photo all night because at first glance, it may just look like two very good looking Ramblers that are in each other's arms. However, Sonny, with the move of the night, came up to Man Mountain to introduce himself as Man Mountain was talking to Sheffield United, the real Sheffield United captain, Ollie Arblaster, hands his phone to Ollie Arblaster and says, Ollie, will you take a picture of me? He obviously knew exactly who Ollie Arblaster was. He's a huge blade himself. Ollie, will you take a picture of me and Man Mountain, please? What? So Ollie Arblaster took this photo. So great move by Sonny, and Man Mountain will be dining out on that for the next 5 years. It was absolutely incredible. And the last photo I'm going to show you is, I don't know if any of you are a fan of the band Another Level. Summertime, everybody in the East Side. All that sort of, I love that song, by the way. But Freaky Baby, oh yeah, you all know Another Level, don't you? And if you don't, then kids, I probably said don't Google it. Actually, there's some songs that Bomb Diggy were a bit of a bop. Well, they're back together. I am here to break it to you. Another Level are back together, and look, here they are. And there he is, Dane Bowers in the middle with the red bow tie, the main man. I have to say, Vinny Souza in that vest. I'm a happily married man, but my goodness me, what a specimen. So, yeah, I don't know who that is on left-hand side, but somebody tells me he's rattled the whole of the championship recently. So, yeah, it's just brilliant. Sidney Peck looks like he's in love with the Man Mountain. A few other players did, to be fair, did fall in love with the Man Mountain, because I think another highlight of his night was Rob Holding coming up to him and going, "It's the view from the mountain." And oh my word, as he told us about that about 10 times, because he was a little bit merry on the night out. So anyway, I've spent the first 15 minutes of the stream talking about that, but I think certainly Basham's the Bash, the tribute to Chris Basham, was well worth talking about. The Player of the Year do, and I'll come on and talk a little bit about that because I've seen a comment that's coming up. But just the Ramblers being able to get together, and it just incredible, absolutely incredible. Loved it, loved everything about it, and it's put me bang up for these playoffs. Even though I'm absolutely cream crackered today, so, and I don't drink. So I didn't get in till 3 o'clock. So Dave the Nose, Man Mountain, all those that were on the sesh, Liam, Jamie Dumpling, Dry Bride, Disco Dave, they were all there. Hope you're feeling well today, fellas, because it was a night, wasn't it? So anyway, I'll just touch on these before before we move on to Bristol City, because obviously we are here to count down to kick off. Jamie says, evening, Jim, not able to watch live tonight as I'm at the cinema. But as can I just say a bit of a thank you to not only yourself, but everyone that was at the do last night. Big shout out to Peck for asking to buy me a drink, and Man Mountain for trooping on somehow. Next year, it's happening again. Yeah, so the feedback that we've had from everybody that was there, and this is nothing to do with us, this is just how good the do was. Everybody was saying it was absolutely incredible. So everybody that we were talking to, it's just like this. Look, there were a few things. There's been some comments about, you know, the presentation ceremony itself. However, just the essence of being there and intermingling with the players and the management and everybody who, you know, fellow Blades who have just want the best for United. It was just incredible. Really, really good. Liam says, evening, Jim. Hope you're okay. I'm feeling a bit rough, but just wanted to say a huge thank you for last night at the awards, putting this special community together. What a special night with special men. Up all the rambles, up the Blades. Please like and subscribe. Let's get to 8K. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'll do it very, very briefly. Jamie came up to me at one point last night and said, I just want to, which is, you know, it's, I don't even know if I want to talk about it really, but we were just saying some very nice things about the community that we've put together. And as I never normally sort of stop and smell the roses or whatever the saying is, but I'm looking around on the dance floor and there's about 6 to 8 ramblers all dancing together, and there were others off elsewhere. Scott were there last night, Sarah were there, but like the dance floor are clear because we were at stop outs and we were at last ones there, and they're all singing and dancing together, and they'd never have met each other if we hadn't have all come together in this community. And that's not down to me, that's down to all of us in terms of how we are with each other. But I love it. I love the fact that we've all come together through a channel and everybody's a part of that. You don't have to be a Rambler or a member or anything. If you subscribe and you support our channel by just watching us and liking the stuff that we do and subscribe, which is free, then you're a part of our journey, aren't you? So loved it, loved every minute, hoping for something very similar on our Wembley journey. Hoping. Got to get past Bristol City first. Got to get past Bristol City first. And to talk us through the Bristol City game, here is huge Bristol City fan and fan channel, Jack Buchanan.
I think City fans going into the playoffs, it's a bit of a nervous optimism. It's what we've had all season, to be honest. It's served us well for the most part. We've not got a great record in playoffs. We've been in 5, made 2 finals and never won either of them. So, not ideal. But equally, if anyone's going to win it, it's probably this squad. I think there's just something weird and special about this lot in the last couple of months where we've managed to grind out the results where we need to. Look at Saturday, for example, 2-0 down, coming back, drawing 2-2. All right, it made little odds in the end because even if we'd lost, I think we'd have still got in the top 6 because Blackburn dropped points. But either way, we managed to secure it. Max Bird, I'll be real. That signing is absolutely incredible. He's a ridiculous player at this level. Him and Jason Knight in the middle is just incredible to watch week in, week out. He's really sort of driven that never give up attitude back into the side, changed a few things tactically, going to a 5-back with flying wing backs like Ross McCrory, who's scored a few recently at the most important time of the season. I don't think so. I think if you look at those 3 games, Leeds played us off the park, that's fair enough. We were poor at Luton. We weren't great, to be fair, against Preston, but equally we've played those 2 sides who have had really something to fight for, I guess, going and just trying to grind out the best result they can. Luton was the worst performance I've seen from City in a long old time. Like I said, Leeds we were probably just outclassed. They just played us off the pitch. We didn't really get a sniff, did we? But Preston, I think we showed real character to come back and draw 2-2, and if we can play like we did in that last half hour against Sheffield United over 2 legs, I think maybe we get the better of you. It's a bit hard to tell. We've been alright this season against you guys for the most part. Yeah, we only got 1 point, but overall I think we've put in some good shifts. Again, there's been Jason Knight in the midfield. I think he's been absolutely imperative. He's started every match, and he's just been ridiculous. I think he's played something silly like 100 games for City now. He only signed last summer. It's incredible. He barely missed a game last season, barely missed a minute. Hasn't missed a minute at all this season. It's just incredible. So hopefully he doesn't get injured or anything like that before the playoffs, because that would be heartbreaking if he does. He's the real heartbeat of this team. on current form, it's Ross McCrory. Somehow he's our goal scorer at the moment. Barring the goal against Sunderland, I think it was from. I can't actually remember who scored our equaliser against Sunderland. I think the last 4 goals we've scored have all come from fullbacks. I think there's 3 from McCrory and 1 for George Tanner now away at Luton. So those 2, weirdly enough, are probably our best attacking threat at the moment. We've not had a good striker for the whole year, really. Nakiwa's had a bit of a resurgence, but not to the point where he's like a major threat. Probably defence. I think we saw that on Saturday again. Both goals very weak defensively. Maybe a bit of a foul or an offside for the first one, but the second one's just a comedy of errors, really, and it's not great at all. I think you can see that from our last 3 games. Probably quite an open one, based on the two games we played you with this season so far. So losing 2-1 at our place, drawing 1-1 at your place. They might seem like cagey affairs to those who weren't there, maybe, and the eye test kind of disproved that, I think. I thought they were both very open games, especially the one at Bramall Lane was a really free-flowing game with a lot of chances for both teams, and probably should have been a lot more than 1-1, maybe 2-1, possibly even like a 2-1 or 3-2 winner. In that, a few penalty shouts as well, so maybe it'll get a bit cagey and a bit leery at points, but that's kind of to be expected, I guess, with the nature of the tie. Pressure, no. Expectation, no. Hope, yes. You know, we're the biggest city in biggest city in England to never have a Premier League team. We're probably one of the biggest clubs to have never been in the Premier League as well. It's probably between us and Millwall, I'd say. So hopefully we can sneak in there, but it's a bit of a tough one, isn't it, really? Pressure, I'd probably say not. Ashton Gate will definitely give us a home advantage. I think the first leg, absolutely massive. We've been brilliant at home. We've only lost 3 times there this season, and that was to Burnley, you guys, funnily enough, and Swansea. So hopefully we can nick something and then sneak a point at your place and just get the job over the line. Yes, I do. I think across the 2 legs, if I had to give a prediction right now, I'd say 3-2 City on aggregate. That we win 2-1 at our place and draw 1-1 at yours. So yeah, thanks for having me on, mate, and I'll see you soon.
Nice one, Jack. Thank you, mate. Oh, you're absolutely wrong, but I really appreciate you doing that. That was a really quick turnaround from Jack. So thank you, mate. Very much appreciated. So that is Bristol City, and Jack's confident they can do it. He's going to say that, isn't he? I knew when I'd asked those questions, actually, because I sent him the questions over and I thought, they're a bit lay up, them 2, aren't they? Them last 2 in terms of, do you think you can make Wembley? What's he going to say? No. No, I'll try and get better with those, because normally I don't want to ask just the regular question. I just want to know about their team and what they can bring us. But I do think it all builds into context of how fans are feeling. So thank you to Jack. Very much appreciated. He, from what I can see, is one of the top Bristol City fan channels. I've watched a few of his videos. I always try and do that before we ask anybody to come on, just so that we know that we're getting quality and a strong opinion. So thank you to Jack for doing those. And if you want to go and support him and check out his, I think will obviously be some footage over the next few days that include Sheffield United, then go and see Jack over on his channel as well. So there we go. On to Bristol City. I haven't done... look, you come to the Ramble and you get honesty, right? So I haven't done a graphic for the team I would pick. I assume Dave the Nose is still in bed, because he got up very briefly and then went back to bed and didn't answer his phone when Man Mountain tried ringing us earlier. But so I haven't got a nose picks yet. I haven't got a view from the mountain yet, but I didn't expect either of those. What I didn't expect was, for a man that doesn't drink, being me, I got up early ish, because I'd been in at 3. I think I got up about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Had a bit of time with the girls and stuff before they went out. Made them some breakfast and did a few bits. Then I went back to bed. So in all honesty, my plan was to... I edited Jack's video, which he turned around really quickly for me. Then I went back to bed. So I didn't do the graphic for my team, because I was asleep this afternoon. So if I've not got back to your message yet, and you've messaged me, because I've got a few waiting now in my inbox, apologies, I will get back to you. But the team I would go with, just imagine the graphics on screen, and I'm just talking you through a nice, aesthetically pleasing graphic. Obviously, Michael Cooper in goal. I'm going with Hamza Chowdhury at right back, because I think Alfie Gilchrist will still be drunk, judging by last night's affair. although you could make an argument for Alfie because it's the away leg, you want to be more defensive. Hamza Chowdhury's done, I think he's worked his way into the team, to be fair. He's been very impressive, although I think it was harsh on Alfie coming out the side. Rob Holding and Anel Ahmedhodzic are going to be in the centre of defence for me. And left back will be Harrison Burrows. In the middle, Vinny Souza and Sidney Peck. We're just, yeah, great. Number 10 has got to be Callum O'Hare. The way he played last time out against Blackburn, and I think he's playing with a bit of a point to prove at the moment that he's a starter in this side. Callum O'Hare has to start for me. Gus Hamer, EFL Player of the Season on the left-hand side. And on the right, I'm going with friend of the channel, Ben Burton Diaz. Up the chili. So BBD start. No, I think he's the best option. I know it's not his favoured position in terms of it. I think he's more natural off the left, but I think he's direct. He poses an attacking threat. I think we've talked about this this season since January, since he's joined. He has a knack of being in the right place at the right time. He's a natural finisher, and I know he's not always been on peak form this season, but he's now rested, and hopefully he can be a real impact player for us. I think it's harsh on Andre Brooks, if I'm honest, who I thought came on and did very well, certainly very, very well. It was excellent in spells against Blackburn, but it was also a little bit rusty, I thought, which you can argue. The only way you get the rust off is to, keep going and keep going. So for those of you that would say Andre Brooks deserves to start and keep his place, I can't argue too much against it, but that's why it's a game of opinions, isn't it? Some will say Jezrak Saki has sat out for long enough to now be really fresh and have his own point to prove. So whilst we've not all season, we've not settled on a right winger or a legit right winger for this side, we've now got three options that I think will be comfortable, whoever we go with, won't we? So again, I think it's harsh on players like Ryan Brewster even, and I didn't know whether I'd be saying that earlier in the season, but I think he's really come on. Somebody's mentioned, and apologies because I like to give credit where I can, but somebody in our chat, one of our Ramblers, has been mentioning that he's better as an impact player, and I think that's been proven a lot this season. In terms of he won't like that as a tag, and it's not something I'm, proposing that we get pushed out there as the narrative. But I think he's worked very well as an impact player off the bench for us this season. I'm going with Tyrese Campbell up front, who hasn't been on, again, similar to a couple of players that we've spoken about already, but hasn't been on his tip-top form recently. But he has been our best striker this season. The outlay alone tells you that. I think Tom Cannon is still suffering slightly in terms of the weight of expectation. I also think Tom Cannon's better in a 2, although he did play up front on his own for Stoke. I think Kiefer Moore's probably better in a 2. So if we want to switch it up, if it's not going our way across these 2 games and we need a goal, maybe that's the move. You pull off Callum O'Hare and Tyrese Campbell and you put on Kiefer Moore and Tom Cannon. We'll see. But that would be my team that I go with. I'm happy to hear yours. And now I think I can jump back into the comments and try not to go over anything we've already done. So FX says, of course we want to get promotion, but looking at the current Premier League table and removing the relegated 3, are there really three teams? Tired, sorry. That we can realistically finish above next season. Not at the moment, FX, there isn't. I mean, you would always argue the other teams to come up with you would aim to finish above them as the first priority. So there only needs to be one more in that conversation. Somebody like a Wolves or somebody like in seasons gone by, it'd have been someone like a Bournemouth or a Nottingham Forest, but they've had very good seasons respectively. There may be one outlier. There's always an outlier. Who, at the start of the season, 90% of us would have had Man City down as winning the title, wouldn't we? So, and they've had a terrible season by their standards. So I think we have to recognise that it's not. Look at Luton. Not everybody. Nobody really would have had Luton to get relegated, would they? You cannot always play football on. Well, it's not played on paper, is it? So, despite what we think might happen, somebody might have a dreadful season in the Premier League next year, and we may benefit from that if we get promoted. None of the 3 teams are ready to stay up in the Premier League. I think we all acknowledge that. I think Leeds and Burnley are clearly slightly in front of us at the moment, if we are to be the 3rd team up, because they've been the 2 outstanding teams in the league this year. So we've got a lot of work to do if we go up, and we've got designs on staying up, which obviously we will have, but it's talking about the ambition of the club, isn't it? So let's get there first, FX, I suppose. Everton, Wolves, he says West Ham going to be a tough ask. Yeah, but you look at Everton, who have struggled historically over the last couple of years. Their players, it's levels, isn't it? Their players are 1, maybe 2 levels above us at the minute. So we've got a lot of work to do. David says, everything Jimmy and the Ramblers... no, everything. Good evening, I think he's going for there, and it's autocorrect's done him. Jimmy and the Ramblers, hope you're well, pal. What a night you had at the awards. The photos and videos were brilliant. Not all the videos will be circulated on the channel, I have to say. I do want Man Mountain to return to the channel with 3 Mardy Blades, and he may well retire if some of these videos make light. So that is just for the group. That's where they'll stay. But we're brilliant. A good time had by all, and thanks for the birthday wishes. Very happy birthday to our boy Dave Morwood. Hope you're well, pal. And another really touching thing was, and I meant to get these up beforehand, but again, been asleep. We have got ramblers in this chat. Up all the rambles, up the blades, he says. Top man. We've got ramblers in our chat, and not just this chat, but our group. Mr. Vancouver, huge Callum O'Hare fan. David Morwood, huge Michael Cooper supporter. From day, me and him were neck and neck. And I think FX Pilot was... Oh, no, Action Location was the other one. We were all really into Michael Cooper from early doors. Let's get him in. Let's get him in. Since we've started the channel, we've been talking about it. But David lives that way. He's the Cornish Blade. So he was aware of Cooper, in terms of early doors. So... Cal was Mr. Vancouver's boy. Michael Cooper was David Morwood's boy. And we all know that Ian, the gatekeeper, is a big fan of Ian Brewster. And Jamie Dumpling, this goes to show what a community we've got here. Jamie Dumpling went and he approached every one of those 3 players, told them about the individual who had supported them that season, and he got them an individualized video thanking them for their support. So in our group, we've got a message from Callum O'Hare to Mr. Vancouver. We've got a message from Michael Cooper to David, and we've got a message from Rian Brewster to Ian. And I just want to thank Jamie Dumpling for thinking about that. And it's a really kind thing to do. And I thought it was a lovely touch from Jamie last night. So well done, mate. He also got a couple of players saying, like and subscribe to Blades Ramble, which you may see on the channel coming up. So thank you, pal. Jamie Dumpling, top lad. I know we all have a laugh because he says some ridiculous things sometimes, like banning kids from the COP, which we have taken out of context, but we're going to run with it. And banning pensioners from the COP and all this sort of thing, which he didn't actually say, and we've just embellished. But obviously, that was a really classy move, Jamie. So thank you, pal. Jack says, evening, Jimmy. Glad you all had a great night last night. Wish I could have come. Next time for sure. Definitely, mate. Next time. Enjoyed the charity bash, though. Up the blades, up the ramp. It was great, wasn't it? Absolutely great with charity bash. Ian says, evening, Jimmy. The lads look as if they're up for these games, and I think they will be. Excited for what is to come. Happy birthday to David. Come on, you red and white wizards. Up the ramble. Top man. Shout out, Blades, says Matt. Are you back from the Champions Parade? Moving on. Nick says, evening, Jim. Just wanted to give a big shout out to the club for yesterday's big bash. Great day and superb cause. Still choked up about the Starman minutes applause and the banner on the COP. Up the blades, up the ramble. I'll tell you what we do brilliantly as a club. And obviously we're talking about George there, which is thankfully an exceptional case of losing a modern day legend so young. But we as a club, something I'm very proud of our club for is the way we look after our own. We look after our legends. We don't forget about who came before us. And I'm not saying other clubs do, because I don't know how they do that. I can only speak for our club. That my personal opinion is we do very well in recognising the players that came before us. And I think Chris Wilder's had a big say in that, in terms of making sure that the respect is there for the teams gone by. He often speaks about previous managers and previous tenures before him who had an influence on him and the players that paved the way. You're always seeing ex-legends around. Obviously, they were directly involved, some of them yesterday. Kieran Freeman can still do bits, by the way. Mark Duffy, class. If we need a number 3 keeper, than and send Luke Faxon out on loan. Paddy Kenny can probably do 20 minutes. So absolutely brilliant. We always look after our legends, and so we should. But well done, Sheffield United. Come on, you red and white wizards. All blades, aren't we? I don't know what that means. Up all the blades, says football fan 123 up the ramble. Thank you, mate. David says, was at the big bash yesterday. I think Cootsy should get a contract. Yeah, Cootsy had bits. Michael Brown, I thought looked really good. Up the blades, up the ramble. Phil says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you and the family are well. We are, mate. Thank you. I'm in the doghouse slightly for... Not for coming in at 3 because she knew it were going to be late, but for being a little bit. Well, I've been too tired to really do anything today, so I've got it in neck for that. So I've just had to go out and get tea for everybody and try and make up that way. My team for Thursday would be Cooper, Gilchrist, and L Holding Burrows. Gilchrist, honestly, he's going to need a significant amount of caffeine if that boy's going to be ready for Thursday. Sousa Peck or Hamer Brooks. Yeah, you're keeping Brooks in. I understand that. Campbell with a strong bench up the ramble. Not a bad shout, that, Phil. Not a bad. Don't mind that team at all. Matthew says, evening, Jimmy. Sounded like and looked like a damn good night last night. Some sore heads. So looking forward to the playoffs. Bring them on. So, yeah, absolutely right, mate. Me too. Ricky from Just United says, need to go for and win. They're out for pressure on the win there. Out the pressure on them. When they come to the lane, or up the pressure on them, I assume you mean, pal. When they come to the lane, I know it's easier said than done, but it's time to turn up the gears and go for it. Winkerbank Blade says, Matt, we don't celebrate outside unlike the Gaff. Other clubs' grounds, unlike the Garforth Whites. Holly, which is Rich Gill. I hope you're well, pal. Evening, Jimmy. Feeling confident about this game. Keep it tight, and I'll be happy bringing them back with a draw on Thursday night. Up the Blades, up the ramble. Like and subscribe. Yes, mate. It's a do not lose, isn't it, on Thursday? But we won't play like that. I don't think you can play like that. I think you play like it's the first half across 90, because that's essentially what it is. But I think you just ease yourself into the game as much as you can. Try and keep the crowd quiet. An early goal, though, would be incredible, wouldn't it? As long as we don't lose, I'll be happy. But I don't think we'll play for the draw, if that makes sense. So, did Robinson speak to you, Jimmy? Funnily enough, no, I didn't get a chance to speak to Jack Robinson. I didn't. I spoke to a lot of players last night, which I was incredibly privileged to do. But Jack Robinson wasn't one of them. Looks like you're unscathed from the Robbo attack up the Blades. Listen, Jack Robinson, I have nothing against Jack Robinson as a man. Nothing at all. That's it. That's all you have to listen to. That's the only bit you have to listen to. Nige says, evening, Jimmy. Hope last night was good. First game of my 3-year-old son yesterday. Loved it. Love that, Nige. This is exactly what it's about, isn't it? It's exactly what it's about. So you will now be to blame for this, Nige. His years of misery is all your fault. You've officially stamped him in now. Only lasted until half-time, bless him. Well, there you go. That might be a sign of things to come. But what a great turnout to up the Blades, up the Ramble. Up Behind the Ramble, like and subscribe. How did our Sam play? I know, Matt, I would have mentioned it, pal. Sam Eckhart played yesterday, which is Matt's cousin. Played all right, to be fair, mate. Played all right. Yeah, he did well. I thought everybody did in terms of... It were a fun occasion. It was touching. It was quite emotional at times. It was really funny at times. It was just a real good fun, I thought. It were a really good occasion. And did Bash proud. And Brett says, no black eyes, Jimmy. You must have avoided Robbo. Good day yesterday. Even with the playoffs looming, confident Blade for a change. Oh, the plays up the Ramble. Jamie says, everyone kept their heads down around him. Yeah, I think we all did. That Starman tribute, says Maury. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Been to every playoff final and FA Cups, never seen us win, but quietly confident. Hopefully this year will be special. Up the Blades, up all the Ramble, says David Vinter. Hope you're well, pal. Everyone else annoyed at Leeds' new Bogle chants that Ampadu has sung today. Proper disrespectful. Okay, so we don't avoid subjects. I don't want to sort of spread anything. I don't want to blow anything up to be bigger than it is. but what Scott is referring to here will no doubt make the rounds. So Leeds Parade today, Ethan Ampadu is on top of the open top bus. Ethan Ampadu has played for Sheffield United, by the way, obviously. Says he's got a new song about, he's on the microphone travelling through Leeds on their promotion parade. Says he's got a new song about Jayden Bogle because he hasn't got one yet. And he starts singing Starman about Jayden Bogle. Now, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt here. And I know I'll probably be in the minority. But just let it play out a little bit, because what I don't want is, or what we can't have really, particularly on this channel, we have forged some okay relationships with Leeds, haven't we? I think the relationship between ourselves and One Leeds have brought a lot of the both fan bases together. I think we're not similar sized clubs, if we're honest. I think Leeds are a bigger club than Sheffield United historically, and that's just facts, isn't it? But I think in terms of fan bases, we're very similar in a lot of ways. We've been through similar experiences in terms of roller coasters. There's a lot of similarities. You look at the trajectory of the clubs, they've followed a similar path in the last 10 years or so. This has got the potential to really damage relationships between the clubs. I don't just mean the fan bases, I mean the clubs, if it's taken the wrong way. So this will get a lot of negative attention, which it should if it's been done with full knowledge. And I think he must have known, but I'm going to say he didn't. I'm going to hope he didn't know. It is just a song. It will have been a song that was sung about other players before George. Every football song, bar like 1% of football chants, have always been done by other people. So Starman we were not the first to sing Starman for George Baldock. That is the first thing to say. I don't know that for a fact, but I am 99% sure that's the case. So the reason that is so special to us as a club is because we've lost George so early. We now sing it on a regular basis as a mark of respect to George Baldock, and the fact that we'll never forget him, because we won't. The thing that's a bit of a kicker and a bit that doesn't sit well with fans, because if Plymouth were singing this about Bundu or something like that, it wouldn't make the rounds like this. It's because it's Ethan Ampadu, ex-Blade, about Jayden Bogle, very recent Blade, who they both played with George Baldock. They both will have been close to George Baldock, particularly Jayden Bogle. So we haven't even heard Bogle's response to Ampadu's song. So that may be something that gets squashed straight away. Jayden might come out and say, actually, mate, it might have slipped your mind, or whatever it might have been. That's not the way to go. We're not having a song like that. We need another song, or whatever it is. I think I'd be surprised if Bogle doesn't stamp it out early doors. And if he doesn't, that's his choice. I'm just going to try and... I don't want to think about it because it upsets me to think about, if I'm honest. So we're not going to blow it out of proportion just yet on this channel anyway. But those are my honest thoughts about it, Scott. I'm really disappointed that it's happened, but I don't want to blame anybody without knowing a little bit more, I think is probably the fairest way to put it. DJ says the schedule is ridiculous. I have 2 weeks off before a final. No rest for the wicked. 2 weeks off before a final. Do you mean they should be spreading the semis out a little bit more and play them closer to the final, DJ? Is that what you're thinking about? I'm not sure. Rich says, went to our first playoff game away at Bristol City, and all these years later, we're at it again. I'd be lying if I said I was confident, Jimmy, but I'm a Blade and will be forever. So here goes, up the Blades. What is it? It's the hope that kills you. And I first heard that from Ramble legend Andy the Blade, who will be coming back on, by the way, very, very soon. And then, in fact, breaking news, we are currently in negotiation. In fact, there's a verbal agreement in place for Andy the Blade to have a monthly slot on the Ramble. So I have tied him down to have a regular spot. I'm trying to get him more often, but he believes that absence makes the heart grow fonder. And he doesn't want to come on weekly because he thinks he'll lose his luster as the top star of the Ramble. And I understand that. He hasn't said that, by the way. I'm just winding him up. But I have, yeah. So it's out there now, Dad. It's out there now. Eki Outsal is our witness because you have agreed to this, both verbally and I'm sending you the contracts after the live stream. Increase in pay. We're going to increase your pay by 100%. So what's 100% and nothing? That's what we're going to do. Nice to see older faces, says Maury. I think he means at the bash rather than people on the photos or anything like that. We're up from the night out. Rich says, quiz question for you, Jim. I'm rubbish at these, by the way. Which future England manager played against in our previous playoff encounter with the Robins? Previous? Do you mean former England manager did we play against the Robins? England manager. Southgate didn't play for Bristol City. Lee Carsley didn't play for Bristol City. Fabio Capello, I don't think, played for Bristol City. Which future England manager played against? I don't know if it's worded right, this, Rich, to be fair. Anyway, played against in our previous. So in our previous playoff encounter, did we play against a former England manager? I assume you mean. Don't know. Ultimately, if you know that, then get your answers in comments. Fair play, Rich. I was confused about the charity game because isn't Fleck in the playoffs? Great point, Kyle. Yes, he is, because he's playing at Chelsea, isn't he? And he played a long time, did Flecky yesterday, and he was another one, by the way. Great to see him back in the red and white. Maury said, before my time, Mel Reese, rest in peace, Alan Kelly, Simon Tracy. My time, Paddy Kenny, my first keeper I've watched. I don't remember any more good ones before Hendo or Coops. But I think that's a strong timeline, though, isn't it? Alan Kelly, Mel Reese were before me as well, to be fair. But Alan Kelly, Simon Tracy, Paddy Kenny, they had long tenures at United. So you might just think you're naming 5 there, but you're naming probably 10 years worth of goalkeepers in the last 20 years, 30 years maybe, probably longer. Historically, I always think we've had strong goalkeepers. I think Simon Moore did a good job for us in League One as well, but I wouldn't put him in the same class as goalkeeper. But in terms of being comfortable with your number one, I think we've done all right. Hi, Jimmy. Chris Basham, in my opinion, is a fantastic example of how a professional footballer should be on and off the pitch. I'm a huge fan. Love him up the ramble. I agree. I completely agree. He handles himself exceptionally well. Hoping to get him on very soon if we can, because I think he's just a fantastic example and a fantastic ambassador for the club. I know he's been doing a little bit of media now with Radio Sheffield. Wish him all the best if that's the route he chooses to go down. I think the club could have him as an ambassador in terms of, you know, doing the after dinner stuff and after the game and in the lounge and stuff. I think it's just, yeah, a great, he's certainly a club legend, but yeah, just a fantastic ambassador for the club. We were saying yesterday, and I don't mean to shift focus from Bash, but Billy Sharp needs his own testimonial. That's obviously goes without saying. I thought yesterday were a lovely way to sort of officially, it's probably his last game in a United shirt, Billy Sharp, unless he has a testimonial, which usually you have to go 10 years, I think, don't you? He is also the example of a fantastic professional. Look how he's still fit as a butcher's dog. I know the thing with Billy is he was never a pace merchant. So the fact that he's been able to prolong his career because he's one step in front. It's the old Teddy Sheringham trick, isn't it? Where if you're a yard in front in your head, you don't need to be a yard in front on the pitch because he will peel off a defender at the back stick. He will be where he needs to be in the penalty area to score those goals. He essentially scored the goal that got Doncaster up. I know it's obviously a team effort collectively across the season, but Billy Sharp has been a fantastic professional as well. So again, another one that we're hugely proud to have associated with our club. Mark Meldrew says, good evening, Jim. Glad to hear you all had a good evening last night. All eyes on Thursday now. Just come away without defeating. I'm a happy man. And if Mark Meldrew's a happy man, then that goes a long way. So come on, Red and White Wizards. He says, up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the Meldrew. Christo says, hi, Jim. I think Bristol City is a great draw for Blades. I fancy you to get past them. They were awful against Leeds and they have a small squad. All the best. Hope you join us in the Prem. Leeds fan in peace. Thank you, Christo. Congratulations on your promotion. Enjoy that I'm saying that because I'm not going to keep saying it time and time again. But yeah, it's one of them. Maury says, love City. Absolutely right, mate. We all do. This is going to be a very hard game for us, says Super Positive Jack. We struggled twice against these, but Wilder has got his team through the last couple of games and managed some good minutes. Look, they were difficult games, Jack, and I don't think necessarily the results reflected the performances for both. I think we could have easily drawn at Bristol City, where we got the last-minute winner, and we could have easily, they could have nicked it at Bramall Lane, I thought. So it could have just as easily been 4 points to them across the season. But actually, it were 4 points to us. So that has to give us confidence as well. Harry says, any chance of some interviews from players or Wilder now, Jim? I have to say, I think Chris Wilder is very unlikely while he's in position. Very unlikely. Because I just do. We're not an official media outlet, if you like. That's certainly how the club see us. Because we have had conversations and I've got a fantastic relationship with the club and I'm really fortunate. But there has to be a line where there's also stuff that I don't want to be, and not that I'm saying the club would do this, but I don't want to be given questions or anything like that. I want to be able to ask questions that our Ramblers want asking and, have a bit of a laugh with him because I think that's the sort of person he is. Players, similar thing in terms of current players. They're very, very guarded on that. So, I'm going to cough. So they're very guarded on that. But ex-players, definitely. Definitely. Good luck in the playoffs, mate. Thank you, Tom. Did Dave the Nose get a sniff in? Says Cool King. I believe he refrained from the sniff test on a lot of players, to be honest. I think he's retired his nose from these sort of do's, to be honest. He's not losing the nickname because whether he wants to or not, he'll never get rid of that name. But I think what he's done is he's used the reasoning that we can no longer question, which is nobody can compare to George. And how can I argue that point now? How can I? Andy the Blade had a brilliant shorts idea, for the short content that you can put on the channel, which is less than 3 minutes. He said we should have done a top 5 smelling that Dave the Nose could rate top 5 smelling players last night. But Dave was like, no, I'm not doing it. I refuse. And Dave's always up for a laugh. But he was just like, no, I'll look like an idiot going up to people and sniffing them. You'll make me look like an idiot. and then he pulled that trump card out where he said, I'm sorry, mate. Nobody will compare to George. I know no one will compare to George, Dave. Just get your nose out. Get sniffing. Jack says the problem I feel could cause us some trouble is our lack of ability to create chances and score. You've said that for a long time, haven't you, Jack? And to be fair, though, mate, whenever that happens during any game, because it does for all teams, that's an easy thing to point to. I think it is pertinent to the problems we've had throughout the season, but we've got enough attacking talent in the squad to be able to forge out these chances. We've won just as many games as, I think it's Burnley, that we've got the same amount of wins as. I think Leeds have got 1 win less than us. So we can win games in this division. We've accrued 92 points. And I'll say accrued. And even if you want to just say we're on 90 points, that is enough to get any team out of this division in any other season, other than last year. But there's been 2 better teams than us. And if you go by those sort of facts and figures, we should be better than the teams below us. And if we play to our best, we'll win these playoffs. It's just we can never guarantee that we will. Ian says, massive thanks to Jamie Dumpling for the videos that he sorted from the players. Absolutely right, mate. Definitely wish I'd come, says Maury. Next year, pal. Next year. And to be fair, Maury, I can understand why people wavered on it. It was a very dear do, but it was packed as well. So I would anticipate that will be the model going forward because the club will have done very well financially out of it. Which is, it's fine because as a paying punter, I had a brilliant time. So it's my choice to pay the money like it was everybody else that was there. And it was a fantastic night. So it's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's, for some people, that's half a season ticket for one night. And it's not easy for a lot of people. So I get it, Maury. I get people that want to run an hour in. Some people aren't able to do it for whatever reasons, health or location, all sorts of things. So, but if we can sort of show you how it was, you may well want to be involved next year because it I can only tell you how I felt about it. It was just a brilliant do. Be a hard game, says John at Bristol, but confident we win if Chris picks the right team. I will play 2 up top, Campbell and Cannon. So would you drop Callum O'Hare then, John? I think that's really harsh. I know what you're saying. Sometimes formation has to rule if we think that that's going to be the most successful way of going about it, but I think it's harsh. Holding at centre-back, absolutely Holding at centre-back. View from this is the view from the mountain. Honestly, I nearly fainted. I nearly had to catch a mountain last night. Up the Blades, up all the rambles. Thank you, mate. Up the ramble, says Jace. Ryan says, good luck in the playoffs, Jim. Marching on together. Up the ramble. Thank you, Ryan. Jamie says, you saying you and Man Mountain got changed quick is like saying Kiefer Moore's as quick as Usain Bolt. Look, he had his hair to do. He had his beard oil to rub in. I was holding the hotel door open for God knows how long, waiting for him. He couldn't find his shades. We were going to a night do. He couldn't find his shades. Just like, what is... Honestly. There's some work that goes into being the housewife's favourite, I tell you. Billy says, training hotel book for Bristol City. Absolutely brilliant, mate. Well done. Absolutely buzzing for this. I think we'll take a result back to the lane with us, up the Blades, up the Ramble. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. And to be fair, if you're not able to get tickets, there's only 2,000 on sale, so Bill's done really well there, to be fair. We will be doing a watch-along. So we will be here from 7 o'clock on Thursday night. Before that, we'll be doing Hot Off the Presser. I believe it will be Wednesday. I think the press conference will be at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. And I think that will mean we'll go live straight afterwards, which will be about 9:30-ish. So then we'll be doing a watch-along on Thursday from 7 o'clock. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, but we'll be here from 7 to count down to the big game. Bristol City against the Blades at Ashton Gate. And then directly afterwards, we'll be taking Ramblers calls and all your comments. For 90 after 90. Already. I've been saying how much I'm looking forward to it, and now I'm nervous again. I'm all right. I'm good. We're good. We're chilled. We're all right. We're cool. So anyone who spoke to Gus and Sousa to see if they are leaving, I think you mean gutted. I couldn't come. I was working. To be honest, they were all just speaking positively. So no, it's not the sort of thing. I mean, to be fair, and I love them to death, but Liam were coming up and saying to everybody and saying, tell him you're staying, aren't you, pal? You're staying. Whatever happens, you're staying. What's a player going to say to that? Yeah, mate, of course. Well, we'll see what happens. Or, he's not going to say, yeah, I'm definitely off. If we don't get promoted, I'm off. To be fair to them, they were all spinning it. They're all media trained anyway. But I do believe a lot of them are being genuine. Like, we're confident going into the playoffs. We feel like we deserve it. And we're going to take that positive momentum into, they know they're going to have to work hard. But they're up for it. James says, champions again. I'm just going to read the rest of this comment before I put it on screen. Show you were watching the parade earlier, Jim. What a massive club we are, up the Whites. I can't believe you come on a Sheffield United channel to say that. Thank you, mate. Appreciate the comment. Sir Man Mountain from now on says, Bright. You don't need any of that. Sheila's Wheel says, is Siddy really only 20? It looks so young. What a future this lad has. Love him. Absolutely right, Sheila. He's great. I thought Jamie didn't drink. He doesn't, mate. He doesn't drink. Me and Jamie Dumpling drove home last night. I took him back to his car, and we both drove home. And to be fair, I like to think I'm a little bit like this myself. Doesn't let it stop him having a great time. Dancing, singing, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Top man. A lot of respect for Jamie Dumpling after last night. We win the playoffs, Jimmy. Celebrations at Wembley will be historic, says Action Location. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Just imagine. We can't jump 2 or 3 pages yet, Action Location, because when we do that, when we allow ourselves to dream, that's you then plummet, don't you? You then potentially plummet deeper. We will get there, hopefully, in terms of if we get through Bristol City, you can't help but imagine what it's going to be like then. So we will be setting ourselves up for a fall, but we could also be setting ourselves up for elation, couldn't we? So I'm with you, pal. Andy says, rooting for you guys in the playoffs. Good luck, up the Clarets, up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Uruguay White says, just sending good luck from Uruguay for you and your team. Thank you, mate. Paul Young, Cowboy Paul Young. Tex, as we know him on the channel, says, how did you find the presentation night at the Player of the Year Awards? Hopefully you've caught up with me breakdown, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Maury says, I'm on the march with the Ramble Army. We may be going to Wembley. Nice one, mate. Nice one. I was saying about Maury being a lyricist, and then the old smelly brain came up the other night, didn't it? Which is absolutely hilarious. I'm a Leeds supporter, but we'll still tune into your channel, Jim. You're a mint presenter. Nice one, Kev. Thank you, pal. I don't take compliments very well, but I appreciate that. I'm not a trained presenter or anything like that. We just love talking about United and have a laugh when we're doing it, hopefully. Jamie says, Gary Sinclair's speech was incredible. What a man. I have to echo that. Gary Sinclair was absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. Fair play to him. Dave Leary was hanging on every word. He has got a fan for life. We all love Gary Sinclair. He's the stadium announcer, for those that aren't aware. He did a really poignant speech. I don't know if I've actually mentioned this at the top of the show, but he did a really poignant speech. Really, really good. Held the room. And yeah, really, really good. Shout out to Gary Sinclair, an absolute treasure at Sheffield United. The Man Mountain, this is the view from the mountain. It was an unbelievable night. All the Ramblers and the players to a man were absolutely spot on. The hostess was so unprepared for such an event. Didn't take the shine off a great night. Up the Blades and up the Ramble. Yeah, there were a few grumbles about that, unfortunately. But like Paul says, it didn't ruin the night at all. Highlight for me is Faxon saying Robbo likely knows about you slating him. So Jamie's spoken to Luke Faxon before, shout out to Luke Faxon who watches the channel. And because Jamie knew that, Jamie then says, do you all watch it then? Do like all players watch it? He went up to him last night and he's like, do you all players watch it? Do you think Robbo will know about him? He says, oh yeah, I'm sure Robbo knows that Jimmy Slater's him. Okay. That's me avoiding Robbo all night. James says, that's mental regards. Holding knowing about your show makes me wonder if Leeds players watch any of the Leeds fan channel. I'm sure they do, mate. Thing is, it's one of those things that you always think, like I look at my mate Connor, 43,000 subs, really well known in the Leeds space, puts out loads of content. Surely the players are aware. We live in a social media world. So I think, yeah, players will definitely watch him without even thinking about it. I think that's the case. Then I've got my own channel, The Blades Ramble, that we're now getting the most views, significantly the most views in the space. And I still don't believe that players would even know who we are. So for people to come up to us last night and say some of the things they were saying for players, and overwhelming. Kieran says, good luck in both legs. I'm looking forward to these two trips at home and away from at home against United from Bristol City fan. Thank you, Kieran. Appreciate that, mate. Good luck in terms of, I hope it's a competitive game. I'd say that as well. I hope both teams do themselves proud. Obviously, you want your boys to do it. We want our boys to do it, but respect you coming on and having a comment with us, pal. Yeah, absolutely, mate. We will be, to be fair, on Monday, Kieran, if you are going to the away leg, we will be at Selena Bar, one of our pre-match sponsors, and then we will also be at Triple Point. So if you want to come in there, mate, you'll be more than welcome for a drink with us before the game on Monday night. We'll let you know times and stuff. And that goes for any Bristol City supporters that want to join us in these bars. We're quite a welcoming bunch. It's one of those things, really, that we're all Blades, and we certainly, first and foremost, welcome any Blades that want to join us for a drink in any of our pre-match bars. You don't have to be a Rambler or anything like that. We just want to be an open community that welcomes everybody in for their own opinions, but also we're a friendly bunch. We're not going to, start any problems with Kieran here, are we? Because he's a fan of the opposition. On the latest Ramble on the Road, actually, which Clarkey got, that's up now. That's the Blackburn Ramble on the Road. I've been trying to get Clarkey on for a Ramble on the Road for ages. He's one of our long-time Ramblers who is an absolutely brilliant supporter of the channel, but I also love the content that he delivers for us. He got a couple of Blackburn fans on, and it's like an extended version because I just loved everything he were giving me. Really, really enjoyable to see him on the final day against Blackburn. And he got a couple of Blackburn lads on in Triple Point just to give their opinion, and I loved it. It's what it's about, isn't it? Winkerbank Blade says, players will check in on YouTube. Trust me, they watch. Yeah, I know that now, Winkerbank Blade. So, thing is, we don't change how we approach things, do we? We never would. We never did when we were very close to the club. We're just honest, and nothing is ever personal. So when I say I want Rob Holding to start over Jack Robinson, it don't mean I hate Jack Robinson, the person, does it? It just means I rate Rob Holding, the footballer. That's the best way of putting it, I think. So it's just an opinion on the football. And to be fair, the one thing I will say is they're very well paid players, and they've earned that right. But it comes with the territory to be critiqued, doesn't it? Not necessarily criticised, but critiqued comes with the territory. So when I'm saying I want Alfie Gilchrist to play over Harry Clark, nothing against Harry Clark, I just think Alfie Gilchrist is a better player. So it's all them sort of things, isn't it? I think they're big boys, they can take it on chin. Good luck, Jim Bob, says Aid. We softened up Bristol City when they come to Ellen Road. They were 2-0 down against Preston. Give them a hammering. See you in the Premier League next season for a top flight Yorkshire derby. I don't like. The thing is, Sheffield United are better when we're not the favourites. That's the only thing that sort of. I am confident going into these games. I have to say, as confident as you can be going into some playoffs. But I do think we're historically the underdog, and that's where we do best. 1-1 at Bristol City away, says Maury. 2-0 Blades at home. Snap, mate. That's me taking your hand off. Snap. Good luck, Jim Bob. Hope you guys do it and go up, says Henry from a Leeds fan. Thank you, mate. Good luck. Wish you all the best. You don't mean that, Kieran. You probably mean after you beat us. But it's one of them, innit, pal? Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Maury says, also, who's doing Ramble on the Road semi-final first leg and second leg, Jimmy? Jamie Dumplings asked me to do one. You can do other if you want, Kieran. Kieran. That's because I've just done one with Kieran, but Maury, you can do other one if you want, pal. So you and Jamie sort it out between yourselves. You can do one, and Jay can do other, whichever you guys want to do. Luke Sablade says, cheers, Kieran. If we don't go up, I hope you lot do. Nice one, Luke. That's very good. Very good of you, mate. Jim Bobbington says, Louis, you guys better not let Fat Frank win the playoffs. Marching on together up the Ramble. Just United says, I think Moore should play a part in this game as Bristol City struggle with the physicality of Ryan One. So initially Moore will have a strong role to play. Hope you well anyway, Jim. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. 8K Ramble soon. Yeah, we're not far away, mate. I think we're just over 200. Oh, no, it might be just over 300, to be fair. Let's have a little goosey gander while we're on. Yeah, we're 308 away from 8K. So still a little bit of a way to go, to be honest. But thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. Ricky from Just United. Gilardi says, I genuinely believe having 2 games to get your head around being in the playoffs is way better than the last game of the season. Heartbreak. Could be key for Sheffield United. Hope you come up with us. I agree, Gilardi. Obviously, I agree with the fact that I hope we come up. But I agree that it's really good for us to have had these 2 games. And not just have the 2 games to get his head around it, to have the 2 games to play somewhat back into form. And not just into form, but also get the wheels turning on some of the players that we needed to get up to speed as well. It's been good preparation for us. I don't think, and I often do this now on these shows, these countdown to kickoffs, there should be no excuses for Sheffield United now. So there's no, why didn't Wilder do this? Or why, at the moment, it's like, I think we're in the best position we can be in, as we could have hoped to be in going into these playoffs. In terms of player fitness, in terms of everything else, as form's turned around as much as it probably can, there's no excuse at the moment. We can win these playoffs. We just have to go and do it now, don't we? And that's with respect to all the other teams in it, because all 3 teams, Bristol City, Cov and Sunderland, all pose huge threats throughout their sides. Stephen says, hi, Jim Bob, Leeds fan here. If we can smash them, you lot can. We want you in the Prem. Thank you, mate. How many of us would have thought at the start of the season, and this is a credit to Connor as well, how many of us thought Leeds fans would be coming on here, not just watching the content, but cheering on Sheffield United? Absolutely unreal, isn't it? And I honestly think we would be in a similar boat now, or some of us would, those that have come over to Connor's channel as well with us and see the content that we've done together, that we would want them to come up with us in a similar boat. So it's just I would never, you could have bet me a lot of things, and I would never have put this down at the beginning of the season. West Ham will go down next season, says Paul. I don't know. The 3 promoted teams always have so much work to do. So much work. Because you might think West Ham are quite poor at the minute. All it needs is a change of manager to sort of revive a team's hopes completely, and it can be a completely different side next season. Brilliant, Jamie. Such class. Thank you so much, says David. It were a classy move from Jamie Dumpling. Good lad. Evening, everyone. Did you and Robbo get your fisticuffs on, Jim? Not me and Robbo. Not me and Robbo. That's all I'll say. That's a joke, by the way. Lewis says, big shout out to the club for the big charity bash. Played in the brilliant. Lewis. I'm never good with that bit. Played in the pay-to-play game yesterday. Amazing day. Jimmy, love the Blades Ramble. You're a top man. Love the streams. Up the Blades. Thank you, pal. And well done, I suppose, for doing it. Do you say congratulations? Because it must be an unbelievable feeling to go out and play on Bramall Lane. So congratulations for that. But thank you as well for your donation to the charity. So I don't really know what the right way to address you for that is, but I admire everybody that laid out. I think it was £1,000 that people were paying to play. You do get a lot for that, to be fair. You get, obviously, the main thing is to support the charity and to get on the pitch and play. You get your own kit. You got all signed bits and other things as well. There was something like a signed shirt. I think we're going all sorts of things. But yeah, fair play to everybody that did that. I hope you all had a brilliant time. It looked really good, to be fair. FX says, had to make the delivery for my wife's business today. Make a delivery for the wife's business today. It was to Out of This World in the centre of Leeds. Imagine when I turned up not knowing today was parade day. Fair play to them. It was mental. They do get on board. When they're doing well, the fans do get on board with them, don't they? Then vuvuzelas. Oh, they ain't got vuvuzelas out, have they? Well, what can you expect? Good luck, Blades. Need to go for it. Mogga's laughing at that photo of another level. On a whole nother level. Everybody on the east side. It's real high in the la-la in the street. Everybody in the ta-ta at the gappa. When it gets hot, everybody. Hey, hey. Hey. Chris says, why would the person that laid the wreath in front of your away fans ever be disrespectful to that man, Jimmy? They were likely friends to some degree. This is what I mean, Chris. I certainly don't immediately jump to it being out of malice or anything like that, because that wouldn't cross anybody's mind. I think at most it's completely absent-mindedness. So I think we just need to squash it in terms of, they need to squash it in terms of it needs to be done by Bogle and or Ampadu to just sort of put it to bed a little bit. It best not, says Maury. This is where we're up to in comments, I suppose. I hope Bogle pulled him to one side. It's been done malicious. If it's been done malicious, I don't think it has. I'd be amazed if it has. Why would anyone do that maliciously? It's not a jab at a club, that is it. You don't do that, and I don't think it's. I take that off the table as it's been done maliciously. I think it's absent-mindedness at worst. George says, very well said, Jimmy. The same summer you signed Baldock, we signed Alioski, who we sang the exact same chant for. The coincidence of the players is fair enough, but it's taken out of context massively. And that's what we can't do, George. And I don't just mean for the fan bases, for the channels or anything like that, because obviously it could damage that if the comments went sour here, and I don't want that to happen. But the bigger picture is, I don't want it to be a really big thing that's blown out of proportion as being disrespectful to someone who's passed so young. It's so much bigger than just what, that sort of element of it. It needs addressing, I think, now that it's become a big thing. But before it gets completely out of control, just squash it. Just say, look, poor choice, never even thought about it. He'll still get some backlash for it, no doubt about it. But it's just unfortunate that it's happened. I'm a Burnley fan and I know about Starman. How would he not know as a fellow Yorkshire team? I know, random man, and I know it's a difficult one. Bogle's not fit to lace Baldock's boots, says Dom. No, to be fair, I think, and this isn't a dig at Bogle either. I think when you look back at a player's legacy, often when they just leave the club, to be honest, when you look back at a player's legacy, you always think of them probably more fondly than they were actually. It's like, oh, well, if we had Billy Sharp in this team now, then he'd be banging the goals in, because Tom Cannon has got off to a slow start, all that sort of thing. You sort of compare to that player's prime, I suppose. I genuinely don't think we've replaced George Baldock, and I don't think you ever will. I don't mean as a man. I mean as a player. I don't think we've certainly not got the right back right this season. But Jayden Bogle was understudy to George Baldock, and I preferred him as some people preferred Bogle, to be honest. I'm not going to rewrite history, but George Baldock was such a good player, and that alone you know, is a huge loss to the side. And that, again, is just one element of the sadness that it was. And again, taking it back to what we should be talking about, the tribute to George yesterday at the Lane was absolutely incredible. And I think it's only right that that's the case. If I get Manor Solomon sung, I get it if Manor Solomon sung it about Jayden Bogle. He may not know. Yeah, we'll see, Maury. We'll see what comes out of it, pal. It says Starman was sung at Celtic for Paddy Roberts. Just after Bowie passed away, Palace sung it. So do Arsenal. Exactly right, mate. There's all songs have been done before, aren't they? 99.9% of them have been done before. I think that's why the I can't remember the blade that started it. So apologies again, because I do like to give credit where we can. But when the Sanderberger song started, it went viral a little bit. It's Sanderberg, because I think that was a new song for crowds, and now everybody sings it about he's Norwegian, and they adapt it to whoever their player is. So She's Electric, obviously, from Oasis, but that's when you know a song is new, when it kicks off like it did with Sander. Jimmy, you are heading for a big disappointment in the playoffs. Save yourself now. Thank you, pal. Appreciate that. I think the Bogle thing is way out of context, says Louis. I hope so, mate. And I tend to agree, to be honest. FX says, Andy the Blade, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Too much makes affections wander. Think on, pal. There you go. They want you back, Andy the Blade. Where are you, Andy the Blade? Are you still in Panenka? Are you still supping in Panenka and dancing about? How good was that, by the way? Blades X Boxing says, we sang that song right in front of him when he laid the reef at Ellen Road. He knows it. Yeah, I know. But Bogle wasn't singing it, to be fair. Jordan Roy says, I'm from Leeds. Can't say I ever watched enough of Sheffield United to know it was a chant. That's fair enough, mate. Nigel Pearson, ex-England manager. I think it's been Steve McLaren. This was Nigel's question. I think it was Nigel's question earlier. Brooks over BBD, says Mogger. Maybe. I can see the argument for it. Brewster's been brilliant lately. I agree with that too. And I was on the maybe his time is up sort of conversation. I get the whole, is he playing for a contract? But even if he is, he's showing what he can do into now. Just seen on Blade to Blade, Chelsea prospect Josh Akenpong, however you spell it, is really interested in coming to us. Okay. No, know nothing about him, to be honest. Billy Sharp needs to be a Sheffield United manager in the future, says Maury. Steve McLaren says Mark. Nice. Small squad doesn't always mean mediocre. Look at Bournemouth's small club, Brighton, but invested well. That's true. Heard the hostess had powdered her nose a little too much. Pal Luke Blade says, I agree with the playoff fixtures. Semis could have been a week apart with a 9-day gap to the final. 12 days is a long time. They could also have done both teams semis on Saturday with the 7-game. Yeah, I agree with that. They can be closer together, can't they? Further away from the end of the season. So, like, Alfie's got a few more days to recover and then play them. Yeah, I agree. Speaking of the nose sniff test, got you. Right, okay, mate. Didn't know if you replied to my comment in the Platinum Ramble about Lee Winter. I've been talking to him myself about the atmosphere at the Lane. Lee, thank you for the reminder, Maury, because Lee, I know I've had a lot to get through today, but Lee Winter, he's on a bit of a one-man mission and he's rallying more troops all the time. Let me get this right, because I asked him to clarify for me so I didn't get it wrong and send people to the wrong place. But Lee is the man that's trying to get the atmosphere improved in the ground holistically, but starting on the cop. He's giving out a load of flyers before the Blackburn game in various pubs. So you may have seen one of the flyers for the Shoreham Boys 89 page on Facebook. You can go over there and join him for that movement. Excuse me. He's working closely with the fan advisory board to try and improve the atmosphere. So if anybody's interested in getting involved with how we can all do that, then join Lee's Facebook group if that's what you're interested in. He's badging it as like an ultra style movement. He's not leaning into like hardcore fans, rah. What he's just wanting to do is lift the atmosphere and get it to be a bit of a cauldron again where the players can really get on board. So go and support Lee over there. He's also after some volunteers to go in with him early to the ground on Monday for the home leg, because he's got a huge banner that he's putting up in the cop. I think it's 20 by 8 meters long, with a message about the atmosphere. Don't know what it says at the moment. He said he'll show me it, but I'm looking forward to it, being surprised by it, to be honest. So I've said, you don't have to tell me. I'll look forward to seeing it. So if anybody wants to be involved on the COP with him, then it's Shoreham Boys 89, I think he said. Reeks of the Sky fixtures, says Luke. It certainly does. How much was the do, if you guys don't mind me asking? It was 180 English pounds. Very expensive, very expensive. But they got it. People paid it. It was a packed out do. So no doubt they will do it again. So, and it was a black tie event. So there were 90% tuxes yesterday and a few ties knocking about. So it was quite an exclusive sort of highbrow do. But you wouldn't have thought that by the end of the night, seeing some of the Ramblers. I'm genuinely starting to get excited for the playoffs. Feels a bit different this time, says Will. I know, mate. We can't say stuff like that out loud, or we shouldn't. But I'm with you. Like and subscribe. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Maury says, I'm definitely coming and getting my suit ready. I'll have to get a small man's suit or a medium. Betman Mountain was fangirling. They were fangirling over him. Ridiculous. Paul Mountain sounds like myself. Make sure my hair is proper. Yeah, Maury, I cannot imagine how long it takes you to get ready on a morning. I can't, pal. A ballot blade over here, says Luke. It got me even more nervous. Oh, mate, love that. Congratulations. And face looking fresh, and yes, makeup. Joking, mate. It's 2025. I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to... Oh, brother, excuse me. I'm going to have to wrap up, I think, because we've been going an hour and 20 minutes. I only normally do about 40 minutes on warm-up. Louis said we sang about Alioski when he was at Leeds and used that exact same chant. Chants are recycled and used by all kinds of clubs. People are overthinking it. It's only because of the close connection, Louis. That's all it is, mate. It's because of the close connection, and that's where it doesn't sit well with people. Maury says, I'm also a ballot blade. Love that. Rai says, I have to say, I did think it was disrespectful, Ampadu singing that song. Not to excuse it, but he was peeved, as in, well, he was drunk. So probably realised it was wrong. Rest in peace, Baldock. Thank you, Rai. Very much appreciated, mate. Dublin Blade says, evening, Jim. Glad you and the lads enjoyed last night. Let's get the team on the front foot. No, Brewster or Robinson. I think Chris needs to finally pick his best team. Only 46 games in. Attack them. Jamie says, in the videos for the Ramblers, by the way, were Ian's idea. So, they were Ian's idea, whether for the... Don't surprise me at all. But Jamie, so it was a joint effort. Ian's idea, the gatekeeper, top man, and Jamie doing the execution. Corinthos Blade says, 340 watching, 606 watching on all platforms, Roy. And only 94 likes. Unbelievable. Hit the like button, lads. And if you don't hit the like button for me, hit it for another level. On a whole nother level. Summertime. That's going to be a short, innit? I'm gonna have to do something with that, Anna. I think I'm gonna have to do something. Dublin Blade says, thought you shared a few pints of Guinness with the previous Nigerian owners, mate. I did. I was drinking back then. And I was schmoozing. So when in Rome, or when in the Roebuck, whatever you want to call it. Born to be a Claret says, hi, Jimmy, would love you to come up with us. Best of luck, mate. Sure you will do it. People are going to see this stream and see that it's going to end up being over an hour and a half. And we'll be like, oh, Jimmy, like rabbiting on again. But I am really enjoying talking to you all about like last night and the playoffs. So apologies that I'm rambling on, but there's a reason that we called it the Blades Ramble. Martin says, Jimmy, I'm a Blades supporter until you get there. Good luck, pal. Up the Clarets, up the Blades. It's really odd, isn't it, that Burnley and Leeds both backing us. But we have all been in a very similar boat. I think it's brought us a little bit closer being in that three-way fight, hasn't it? So it's been a really enjoyable season. No matter what happens now, I think we need to try, because if we lose in the playoffs, we will never get this feeling back. I don't just mean the excitement of the playoffs. What I mean is the understanding that it's been a brilliant season. It will taint it if we don't get to where we want to be. So we have to try and capture this, and that's the beauty of YouTube, really, because we can go back and understand that this is how we were feeling before the disappointment, if that's how it works out. It's been a brilliant season. It has been brilliant. We won't think like that in 3 weeks if it ain't gone our way, and we will definitely feel like that in 3 weeks. We will definitely feel brilliant if it's gone our way, clearly, but it's in the balance, isn't it? Maury says, Jack Robinson's my best mate now, says Maury. Well, we're done, mate, me and you. No, kidding. 8K by Wembley Way, says Dublin Blade. Love that. 3 weeks to get 300 odd subs. Tall order. Tall order. Good luck, Jimbo, says Jan Vidar. You're going to smash Bristol City. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Lee says, met Jamie Dumpling and had a good chat with Dave the Nose. Talked after shaves and the Blades. It was a great show. It was great. Sorry, it was great how chatty the players were. Great night. Sorry I missed you, Jimmy and Man Mountain. Were you there last night then, Lee? You should have come and introduced yourself, pal. And yeah, we were about all night. Well, to be honest, I was the one that was sort of propping Man Mountain up at times. Liam took his turn propping him up, and Bry and Disco Dave. But Sonny Glasby of Glasby Pallets, what a top man. Evening, Jim. Thank you for the shout out and great to meet the Ramblers on fantastic night for the fans, players, and the Ramble. P.S. Hope Man Mountain isn't sore this morning. Please like and subscribe to this great man. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Very kind of you to super chatters like that. Thank you. Appreciate it, pal. You don't have to do that. You can sponsor us, but you don't have to do that. Morris says, I'm in, mate. I'll do it. Nice one. Text says, no mention of the presenter on the night at the Player of the Year Awards. It was a Mick Fleetwood, Sam Fox-esque presentation. Can't believe you haven't mentioned it. What do you want me to say, Paul? What do you want me to? Do you want to say? Oh, she was terrible. It were why? I've sort of briefly touched on it. That it wasn't the highlight of the night. No point digging the girl out. I think it seemed like it was a last-minute call, and fair play to her. It's a high-pressure position to be in. It felt like she was a little bit out of her depth, if you want me to go that far, but it didn't ruin the night. It didn't ruin the night. I just don't see a point in digging out somebody just for the sake of it, really, pal. That's just my opinion on it. I don't think you were there, were you, either? So it's an easy one to sort of mention from the outside. Winkerbank Blade says, random question, Jim, but how long was the Ramble in the pipeline before you started it? It's class and what you've done, to be fair, mate. Thank you, mate. It was pretty much a done thing straight away. As soon as we've made that, everybody knows the story about me talking to my dad in Triple Point about it. And I started that week, I think, something like that. It were a very quick turnaround. It wasn't a hugely planned out thing. Came up with the name on the fly, which is one of the things my dad always refers to. Like, he's like, I cannot believe how brilliant a name that is, like, in terms of how it's caught on and how you can now make it into different things. That was literally it took me an hour to come up with a name for a channel, because I was just scrambling around, and he thinks that's one of the crowning things of the channel is the name itself. And sometimes people will think for months about channel names and sort of change it along the way if they're not quite happy, but I love it. I wanted something that what you should do is have Sheffield United or Sheffield United in the title, because when people are searching for it on YouTube, searching for Sheffield United content or Sheffield United content, they don't put Blades, they put Sheffield United. So you want things that will tag on and catch on to your name of your channel. And it doesn't quite do that. So it's not really what you call search engine optimized. That's the technical term for it. Look at me learning alt phrases. Get in. It's only taken 3 years or 2.5 years. So really, you should have some Chef United. Like Ricky's got just United. So whenever somebody searches United, he will come up in a search. Might not be at the top at the minute, but he will come up in a search. I've got nothing Chef United. I've got Blades. So I have to rely on people. That's why some people put hashtag Chef United and stuff like that. That's by the by. But I wanted something that was clearly Chef United based, which was Blades. And I wanted Ramble, because I know we've gone for an hour and a half. I know I can ramble on. I know I talk for ages. And in all honesty, I was quite conscious of that. And I was quite self-aware of it, in terms, I didn't want to be, nobody likes to be criticised, but I knew the comments would be, Jesus, this guy can ramble on. Or Jesus, this guy talks forever. So it's a little bit of, not self-sabotage, but it's a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about. It's self-depreciating. That's what I'm going for, a little bit. It just gives me a bit of an out if I want to go on for ages. Robbo is who we should like all our players and get behind when they cross that line. It says, Robbo is a Blade who we should like all our players get behind when they cross that line. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Football Fan. Completely agree with that. Don't disagree at all. I always want Robbo, like I want every Blade, to do really well. Doesn't make me any more confident in his ability. That's the only thing I'll say. But I certainly want him to do well. Absolutely right. Jim, if we get through to the final against Cov, will you be getting a view from Sophia from from Matt SB's sister? Cough, cough. I'll tell you what. If we get Coventry in the final, I will talk to Matt SB about his sister coming on. Honestly, you lot are like animals, some of you. I'll talk to him about it. You know, it's Matt's channel, though. Sophie does a great job, and I really rate her opinion. She knows the football, and it's quite disrespectful, I have to say, to some ladies. But I know you're doing it in a complimentary way. But it's Matt's channel. Matt's the one that started it. From what I understand, he's the face of the channel. So I really enjoy it, both of their opinions. But it just makes me laugh when you do it. When you're getting this Leeds kit on, Jimbo, I can't see it anywhere, MW. I can't see it. He's not sent it me yet. So whenever he sends me it, I'll get on Battle Lines and I'll do it. You're not seeing it on Blades Ramble, by the way. It'll be on Battle Lines. I will wear it. I've agreed to do it. It's a bet. And that'll be, let's do it. Burn it, bin it. Jim, the Yorkshire clubs have been underrepresented in the Premier League this season, despite being the biggest county in the land. So it's important that the Blades reach the promised land. I agree, Michael. We'll do what we can, pal. Michael says, Leeds fan here. I've never regularly watched another team's fan channel, but what you and Connor have created is wicked. Good luck for the playoffs. Thank you, mate. That's really kind. Bean says, as long as we don't lose the first leg, I'll be confident. I hope Cannon doesn't start. He's done better when we've gone 2 up top, but 1 up top, he's struggled. Campbell for me. I agree with that. That's fair. Maury says, funny story. I squeezed, I think you're going for there, pal. Vinny Souza's hand. Good. When he let me have a selfie with him, I was like, I want to keep hold of your hand forever. Maury, a bit of a soft spot for Vinny there. Jamie says, to be fair, there were... Well, I won't out him actually, but there was somebody yesterday who was getting very hot under the collar about Vinny Souza taking his shirt off yesterday and just having his vest on. Note to Man Mountain green with envy. Note to anyone buying Peck a drink, he likes a vodka lemonade. Thanks, Jamie. Just you can keep dropping that name in, mate. Keep dropping it in. What's happened with Bogle? We're not going to go over it again, Jord, but it's further up in chat. We've mentioned it, pal. I'm trying to get through now, and I'm still 15 minutes behind on comments. If we'd had Baldock in this squad this season, it would have guided us to the auto. I think having a solid right back in George Baldock. Absolutely right. Saw you at the lane yesterday, says Sheffield. Jim, enjoying the box. I was sat behind a mountain of a man. Yeah, well, what a man, what a view you had. Yeah, absolutely. Scott says, evening, Jimbo. Great to meet you and some of the lads finally in person last night. Gary Sinclair got that room fired up last night. Players all brilliant and up for chatting, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man, Scott, another huge contributor to the channel. Yeah, great to meet you, pal. Billy Sharp for Sander Berger, I remember. No, Billy didn't start the song, Maury. It was a fan that started the song. The fan created the song. And if we can give that lad his credit, then obviously we should. Billy picked up on it. I think somebody sent it to Billy, and Billy started the sort of the spreading of the Sander chant. He got it into the public arena, if you like. Best of luck in the playoffs from all at Ellen Road, says Matt. I don't think all at Ellen Road, but I appreciate that, Matt. Thank you, pal. Maury says, Andy the Blade, Dealey Smith is calling. Where are you? May Slayer says, it's been taken out of context, Jim. Ampadu is a Leeds team captain, and he sang a song about every Leeds player today, plus he's hammered. All the best, mate, in the playoffs. Thank you, pal. AB says, hello, Jimmy. Been a lurker since the Bramall Lane game earlier in the season. Had a feeling we'd get you if we snuck in the playoffs. Keep up the good work. If we can keep Hamer quiet, we've got a chance. Always a chance if you can keep Gus quiet. He is a game changer for us. Thank you for subscribing, pal. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'd be lying if I said best of luck, but hoping for a good game. Nothing against Bristol City. Think you've done fantastic this season. First game after Baldock's passing was Leeds versus Sheffield United. It was fantastic having all the Ellen Road with the tribute. Why would someone at Leeds do it deliberately? Starman was sung at Bogle versus Stoke, says Aid. 180 quid. It cost me 102 every game in the TC suite. So you got a bargain, pal. Don't know about a bargain. Ian says 90% tuxes, 9.9% ties, and a vest. Yeah, but he's probably the most expensive player there, isn't he? So, or one of. Only slightly bad thing about last night was the host, but feel bad for her because of it being last minute. Surely there were better options. We don't know if she was last minute, Jay, to be fair, but I can only assume that is the case. But yeah, there's no point dwelling on it, is it? It didn't take away from night, so cut her some slack. I'm in agreement, I have to say, but there's no point harping on about it. Dublin Leeds says, Jim Bob, did I see you in Leeds City Centre today? No, you didn't, mate. I have been in bed for the majority of the day. Well, no, I've been in bed for about an hour, but you didn't. Must have been a very good-looking chap you saw instead. Graham says, Cov Fanny, glad to miss you in the semis. If we do both get to the final, I'm just checking the contracts, as I'm sure Sam McCallum and O'Hamer, is that O'Hare or Hamer, is cup tied. Or will it be us against Coventry's B team? Play up Sky Blues and up the Ramble. It's if it's Coventry and Sheffield United, it's either got a Callum O'Hare winner written all over it, or a Gus Hamer missed penalty, hasn't it? Or a Callum O'Hare missed penalty in a penalty shootout to get up. It's just a nightmare scenario for both teams, really, in what hangs on it. First goal is huge. If they get it, I could see us crumbling a bit, says Bean. If we get it, I think we go through quite easily. It'd be a failure if we don't get to Wembley. Like, says Maury. Thank you, pal. Going for 4 hours for me, Jimmy. Sorry, mate. I am going to wrap up as soon as I get to the end of these comments. Who's the new player we have? Simon Peck. Simon Peck. No, she didn't say that. She said Sidey Peck. Because it's difficult. She didn't. Yeah, again, I'm not going on about it. Good luck, Jimmy, for the playoffs, says Jack. Thank you, mate. Michael says Chris Wilder has previously won a playoff final with Oxford United, winning the playoff final at Wembley against York in 2009, taking Oxford from the National League to League Two. Yes, he certainly did. It says if the Blades don't get promoted, Leeds will propose a trade deal. Jim Bob for Connor. Harsh. And it's a hard no, obviously. But thank you, pal. I appreciate the compliment. You shouldn't fear anyone in the playoffs, says Jack. Cooler King says, sounds like it's less a celebration of the season than a fantastic morale booster before the playoffs. Great from your club. That's exactly what it was, Cooler King. And some I've seen criticising in letting the players have a significant amount of alcohol last night. But it's a celebration of the season. It is a celebration of the season in terms of what they've achieved so far. But it's also a huge morale booster and a recognition of how well they've done this season to sort of gear them up for, let's just go one more. Every player I spoke to said 3 more games. And I said, I love that we're saying 3 more games. And like Rob Holding, for example, said, you've got to say it, haven't you? Because we believe it. We've got to believe it. So, really got me fired up. Good luck on Thursday, mate, says Fraser. I really fancy your chances against Bristol City. All the best. Thank you, mate. Danny says, evening all. Anyone else bricking it? The one team I really didn't want to get. I really hope Wilder has them up for this. Oh, he has, mate. He has. No excuses for Sheffield United. And Wilder won't come out with any excuses, I don't think. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. I was there 2 tables up from Mr. Wilder. Were you really? Were you? Should have come and said hello, mate. We never saw you. We wouldn't recognise you without the cowboy hat, probably. Dave says, Leeds fan here. I think Sheffield United will win 4-0 over both legs. Hamer, 3 goals. Peck 1. Peck to score. Peck hasn't scored yet. And you could tell he was desperate to score as well against Blackburn. The score at Bramall Lane will be 3-0. Then Sheffield United will win 2-0 at Wembley. Up the Blades, like and subscribe. Thank you, David. Come on, you red and white wizard, says Danny. Can you bring Connor to Wembley? It would be a funny video. Him and Joe from Turfcast wanted to come with us. I don't think they were going to create their own content, but they wanted to come with us down to Wembley. And initially I thought, yeah, it'd be really good that. But then I thought, if it doesn't go our way and they do create some content, then I don't want them there. So I think it's going to be a no. Jamie says, do you think Lee Winter would like my suggestion for the cop? No. I think he will probably ban you before he bans kids from the cop, to be honest, Jay. If Lee Winter agrees to Jamie's suggestion, they'll only be him on the cop, says Dublin Blade. Fraser says, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. Come on, you red and white wizards, up all the rambles. Right, thank you, everybody. I am at the end of the comments. Before I go, I'm going to remind you, there is Clarkie's Ramble on the Road out now. He put some real work into this, and it is a brilliant piece. So go and show him some love on Behind the Ramble for his match day against Blackburn. It was really, really strong. He's a brilliant lad, and I really thank him for the work he's done on this. Wednesday at 9:30, directly after what we expect to be a 9 o'clock press conference on Wednesday, hot off the presser for the first leg of the playoffs. We will be there with all the news from Chris Wilder's press conference. Then it's on to the watch-along of the first leg. We're away at Bristol City, so we can do a watch-along. Myself and George Motson. He would have been on the thumbnail if I would have been awake this afternoon, but he's not, so he's not. I wasn't, so he's not. So come and join myself and George Motson from 7 o'clock on Thursday, where we'll be doing all the build-up to the kickoff. Join us for your match day, and we'll be there. And afterwards, whatever the result, whatever may happen, we'll be here for 90 after 90. Oh, my word. And if you don't do it for me, do it for another level. Summertime, everybody in the east side. It's real high on the la-la in the street. Nice one. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Let's just get the last comments out of the way. Big thanks for all the hard work, Jimmy. Keep it up, pal. Yeah, sorry to go on for nearly an hour and 3/4 tonight, but it was buzzing last night. Yesterday afternoon for Bashers do. Brilliant. Fantastic sort of, not end to the season, worry, because we're still going, but end to the regular season, if you like. Now the business continues in a big, big way. The season sort of hangs on 2, possibly 3 games. Good job today, Jimmy. As always, Jimmy, it says, Louis, thank you, mate. Up the ramble. Good luck. I'll be watching. Paul Rose of Wellstone Landscapes. It says, evening, Jimmy. Hope you're well, mate. I am, thank you, pal. And Thomas reckons Bristol City will win the playoffs. Matthew disagrees. He thinks we are going up. Mitch says, nice stream, Jimmy. Glad to hear all the people enjoyed last night. Thank you, mate. We certainly did. Keep it ramble, everybody. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade. Ramble on.